Magooch, get them Marb Reds ready. We're going to need about 3 or 4 of them for this show. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Magooch, hello. Patty, good morning. Are you off to give Lola her kisses? Is she getting along with her friend? The little, what is that thing, an otter? Those are like little otters, right? Or minks or something. Hope everybody's doing well. Got to go to the store here after this, get some strawberries. Tried making my little dumpling cake pops last night. I need a different mold. I got one off Amazon, and I didn't realize it was. I thought it was going to be a little bit smaller. It's too big. The cake pops are way too big. I can get the cake pop to be the shape of the dumpling, but the sucker weighs a pound, so I need a smaller one. So I found a couple people that make them, and I'm gonna order a couple different sizes. I can see now it's going to take me a couple weeks to get this off the ground, but it is what it is. But I'm going to go to the admin building today and tomorrow. I got to take Friday off for Bring Your Kid to Work Day. I'm taking my granddaughter to her mom's work. Yep. Still haven't decided if I'm doing the macaw days yet on the coast. It's 50-50 right now. I want to do it because I need the money, but it's going to be a freaking headache. Hey, teacher. Hello. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. ALV and Tommy think they're Randolph and Mortimer from Trading Places. They're both algorithm experts on YouTube algorithm experts. They're Yays, YAEs. The YouTube algorithm experts, Tommy and ALV. What do we got going on this morning? You know, it's funny. I was, we were listening to Bridge City Sinners yesterday, and I told you guys that me and my buddy Choppy went to see him a few years ago. I forgot we went for his birthday in October. And so after the show yesterday, I looked it up. And lo and behold, those guys so we went to Seattle last time to see him. Well, they're in Europe right now. They're in the UK touring, but their first stop back in the United States is in October, 2 days before my buddy's birthday. And they're going to be in Tacoma, Washington, like 2 miles from my house is their first stop back in the United States. So I bought tickets for me and my buddy to go for his birthday. So we get to go see Libby Lux again. It's at a tavern, but it's like a pretty decent size. It's equipped to have like small bands play. So I'm really excited about that. Although she definitely doesn't look like this anymore. This is what she looks like now over here on the side. It definitely looks like she got on Ozempic or one of those. She's definitely on a GLP something for 100. You know, she is way different looking now. But a lot of people got on them, I guess.
The count is on, the time is coming soon, but I can get to hell much faster than you. And the way you kiss me, I put my spell on you. And I believe the devil watches over us. He's every little thing we do. When I have filled out slipping fire,
What's up, Todd?
want nothing more than to give it to desire.
Got to play my favorite part here.
And the bitch is me. Don't give a fuck about you. And they say that God's the one that judges us, not ashamed of the things I do. There's nothing more here, the soul is dead and gone.
You know what? I should try to set up outside. I'm going to call that tavern and ask them if I can bring my tent and if I can set up outside before the concert. Because I remember since I'm so close to home, I remember last time when we went, you know, I really like those guys, but I'm not really into that type of music. So they have a couple bands beforehand, and you know, we went and ate some pizza, and he had a couple drinks. But I remember seeing a Seattle Dogs hot dogs tent across the street, and I know they were killing it that night. Since it's so close to Halloween, I'll see what they say. I'll just make some money before I'll make back the money of the tickets before the concert even starts. Maybe I can meet Libby Lux that way. Yeah, me too. She's awesome. Arlene, hello. And I'm going to be setting up outside the Spirit Halloween store too next month and in October. I'm going to have to miss one of the Haunted Forests for this concert, but I don't care. I already got the tickets now, so. Yeah, so that's what's going on here. Arlene's not a fan of the tattoos. Yeah, there's definitely there's going to be a lot of people that aren't a fan of these guys for sure. I get it, but this is one of her latest video. That was 8 years ago. This is what she looked like now.
USA Safe Pilot rewards safe drivers with up to 30% off your auto insurance premium at renewal.
Hey, Dad.
Here comes the old jackrabbit. He runs just as fast as he can. Beyond a young fox, he comes to take him by the hand. But there goes the old jackrabbit. For the trick he did not fall. So time still ticks and life goes on a long and lonesome crawl. Oh, delay. Oh, delay. Oh, delay. Oh, delay. Oh, delay. Now here comes the old jackrabbit. His fur's turning gray.
You know, her concert, she kind of tells like a story too. It's pretty cool. She does have a cool voice, huh? All right. I don't have too many videos today. Can't stay on too long. We have the great debate coming up Friday between Candace Owens and that guy, Andrew Wilson. I mean, I know nobody knows who Andrew Wilson is. Nobody knew who Andrew Colvett is. And there's probably only a handful of us that even know who Andrew Colvett is now. The guy that sits in Charlie Kirk's chair. He's just a nobody. But this Andrew Wilson is a real nobody. And he just came out of nowhere. And somehow him and Candace are going to have a debate. And the moderator is going to be Patrick Bet-David, PBD. Of all people, the snake himself. So Candace said on her show yesterday, she wants this to be the final boss of debates. She doesn't want to have anything to her advantage other than the fact that it's going to be at her house because she's pregnant. She's 7 months pregnant. She doesn't want to leave. And I mean, everybody understands that. So, that was the only rule she had. And that dude, Andrew Wilson, smokes like a chimney. I mean, he smokes more cigarettes than Magooch and Thindu put together. So she told him that he can't smoke in her house, you know, which he agreed to. But his wife made like a big stink about it. What they're going to debate about, who fucking knows? Because Candace knows everything and this guy doesn't know anything. All he can do is gaslight little teenagers. He called some young 20-year-old girl some weird name. It's only a name that a pedophile would use. So I fully expect that guy to be found out as a pedophile or some fuckface for something eventually. But we'll see. It just seems kind of weird that they're even having this debate. I hope nothing bad happens to Candace, you know. Because she's just going to be surrounding herself by a bunch of snakes, and everybody knows it. So, but Thindu and Magooch control the tobacco market. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think that's where Magooch is always headed when he puts on the Sergio Tacchini, and he heads up the coast. That's where he's headed, to Philip Morris's house, to make sure that he gets his cut of the profits and the product, you know. All right, what do we got going on here? Todd's probably headed to work. What is it? 6 o'clock. Todd heads to work between 4 a.m. and 1 p.m. And then he heads home from work between 6 p.m. and midnight. So chances are he's at work right now, or headed to work, I mean. I am definitely not a video game player. I did buy a PS4 8 years ago. I gave it to my granddaughter a few months ago. She's allowed to play it once in a while. We got Paw Patrol and Bluey on there. But I came across this just a minute ago before I started the show. Fatal Frontier 1869. What did I do?
The gold is real, but so is the danger.
Come on, baby.
That'll do nicely.
No. $1.18? Holy cow! That's insane. That's even bigger.
Yes.
Dude, we're hitting a gold mine out here. I'm glad I started mining right here. I can't believe I'm up to $4.68. Yep. That's real money too, which is insane.
So, Fatal Frontier, where the gold is real, but so is the danger. You're not working today. I'm getting my windows. You're getting your windows tinted for what? You plan on doing some drive-bys or something? You don't want anybody seeing all the envelopes in the passenger seat? What do you need your windows tinted for? Is the sun comes out 3 days a year in Buffalo. Is your eyesight, your eyes can't handle the sun? Why do you need your windows tinted? Because you're cool now, because you have a brand new truck, because you can? Motherfucker. I can't wait to hear this answer. It is cloudy up there a lot, right? His tint is going to be, the salt alone. No answer from him. All he's going to tell me to do is fuck off. Anyway, this video game is going to be the new gambling. You know, we are eventually going to go from brick and mortar casinos, and Las Vegas is already a perfect example of it. I mean, think about the gaming mecca that Las Vegas used to be compared to what it is now. Nobody goes to Vegas to gamble anymore. If you go to Vegas, you're going there for a show, or you're just simply going there just to get away, just to be a degenerate for a little while. Nobody goes there for a gaming experience. Oh, I can't wait to get down there on the tables. You know, you can fucking go to a blackjack table, at least here. You can go to, there's blackjack tables everywhere. I mean, the last time I checked, which was years ago, there was over 200,000 blackjack tables in America. And the average one, no, maybe I have my numbers wrong. I think the average, what it was, I can't remember how many there were, but the average blackjack table in America makes $200,000 a year. So for every blackjack table you see in a casino, each one of them on average makes $200,000 a year. And you can still fuck off. I like the look, and I get roasted when driving in the truck for some reason. Does tint shield you from heat? I did not know this. When the sun does come out, he will be prepared. You already know, Patty. He's not going to be able to see. He's going to have to roll down his window to change lanes 360 days of the year. But yeah, when the sun comes out for those 5 days, boy, Todd is going to be, Even the guy putting the tint on is going to be like, dude, what the fuck, man? What is this? Normally I only, But anyway, this video game, Fatal Frontier, as dumb as it is, the funny thing is, I actually seen gold fever. What do they call that? Like gold rush fever? I seen it happen in real life to a guy. Framer John, this old guy that I used to work with in construction. We went gold mining one day, gold panning. And, Central Washington is, you can look it up. They got, there's like, that's where you could get like claims and that the term claim jumper and all this kind of stuff. Like Washington was huge for gold back in, the 1800s. San Francisco is famous for it, but it was from all up and down the West Coast. There was gold. Washington had a bunch of gold. And so we were like, man, we should just go over there and just try, and of course and my buddy Framer John, he's got all the, we got the panning stuff out there, but he has actually like a sluice box and this other thing, this with a blue bowl. It's basically the same thing. And you just keep refining it down and down. Well, he finds all this pyromite, fool's gold out there when we're out there doing it. And he convinces himself that it's real gold, and this dude is like in his mid 60s. And he called on the way home. He called his dad, who lives in Texas, to tell him, I don't know if he told him he was going to quit his job, but I'm pretty sure he told his dad that he was rich, that he found. I mean, so when they talk about like that gold fever, that gold rush and stuff, it is a real thing. I am not kidding. That is a true story, and then he got back to his house. I already knew he was fucked up the whole time. That ain't the first time I've seen pyromite. I mean, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be a complete fucking idiot is what I wanted to tell him. Well, he gets back to his house and sure shit, it just floats. It does not do what gold, gold is like 18 times heavier than water or some shit. This shit is floating in the water, literally. I'm like, and then the realization kicked in, and he was just so depressed. You could just see him just like the high and the low. I'm like, I just felt bad for him. I'm like, damn. So I could imagine, like if you really find some gold, those people, because it was such a tough journey and all this kind of stuff, you literally found some gold, and maybe some of them did end up rich. I think a lot of them didn't turn out too well for them. A few people ended up with all that gold, but maybe it did change the lives of some of them. And so these people, they find some gold and they get that fever. It's hard to explain. That's all they can fucking think about. And, I was not afraid that Framer John was going to kill me that day, but I could see the greed turning in his head. Literally. And he's kind of has a shady past, this dude, Framer John. He's just one of those guys. So he's probably not the most honorable guy. You know what I mean? When it comes to some certain things. I could see the wheels turning in his head. Anyway, the reason I'm going off on that tangent, if I was younger, I would run away and pan for gold, right? I mean, a lot of people did. It is a real thing. I watched it. I like the guys at the beach with the metal detector. Yeah, those guys are cool. Here in Washington State, they have what's called the Beachcombers Association. And I know the day after the 4th of July is like a huge deal on Ocean Shores for beachcombers because so many people go out there and party on the 4th of July. So back to this game. This is the new gambling, guys. This is how they this is how they are going to get the young people, because the young people love to play video games. And the people that are running the casinos, they got to keep making their money somehow. And, so they are trying to figure out any way they can to addict people to gambling. And, so it's going to change from a slot machine, because the average age of a slot machine player in the United States is in their mid 50s. And the younger generations aren't going to the casino to gamble. They're not sitting at the blackjack tables. They're not sitting at the slot machines. You know, they could really care less about that. They're much more addicted to their video games. So the gaming companies have figured out how to take gaming, video gaming and real gaming and combine them. You know, we're going to see it in that new GTA 6 game, but this is a perfect example of it. And these guys will literally get the gold rush fever, which is so evil. Because like I said, I seen it for my own eyes. I was a passenger in his truck and Framer John was driving. I seen it with my, you know, and I'm a smart dude when it comes to shit like this. I seen it with my own eyes. So I know how powerful that is. And so it's just fucking straight up evil for them to do this. But they are. And so these kids are going to get on here and, you know, they're the only way that you're going to get the money is to find the gold. And I'm sure maybe there will be other ways, but you know, the moral of the story is that you're going to have to spend all your time and energy on here. And more than likely, they're going to figure out ways to get you to spend money in the first place. So, you know, more what I see with if this was my game and I was just wanted to fuck everybody over, you know, because it says the gold is real, but so is the danger. So if somebody kills you, probably they steal your gold. So imagine that. You're walking around with all this real money. Now all of a sudden this motherfucker comes along and kills you. Like that's how it was back in, you know, the real days too. And then they steal all your gold. So imagine as a mother in there cleaning up the kitchen, everything's fine 15 seconds ago. Kids on top of the world, and then next thing you know, he's in there and he's ready to kill everybody in the house. I mean, it's gonna be like that. It's not good, guys. These games are not good. I knew this was coming. You know, and chances are maybe this game's been around for a long time already, but it just came across my feed and I seen it and I was like, it reminded me of Framer John and that gold, you know. It's wild. I'm so glad I don't play video games. Osada is on a roll. Another quality about Osada, he is so humble. I am so smart when it comes to this. 100%, Sweet Tea. My uncle lived DTS near Seaside, and I used to love going with him with his metal detector. Osada's on a roll. Well, I mean, I can't remember what was I referring to when I said I'm so smart with this. I mean, I just have to just toot my horn sometimes because, you know, like when it came to the gold, to that, if we're talking about the pyromite, I mean, you got to be a complete idiot. You know, but people just are. They're just that dense. And I consider that when I talk to people about conspiracies and, you know, just people's aptitude about comprehending things, you know. DTS is down the shore from non-New Jersey folks. I had a buddy who bought a expensive metal detector, and it could tell you could take it underwater and set it for gold and silver and all these different precious metals, but I don't really think he ever found anything cool with it, and it was super expensive. DTS, many people are desperate. They are. You got to be careful with, I mean, when it comes to money, I mean, what's up, Tommy? Good morning. You never know with people, man. They will turn on you in a heartbeat. You know? It's weird too. Like, I'll see it, you know, like just even advertising my business on Facebook. You'll get people once in a while that, you know, they try to attach themselves to you because they're like, oh, this guy's, you know, a meal ticket right here. He's always out there making money. You know, every time I see him, he's making money. You know, fuck that. You got to stay clear of those. I have no problem telling those people. I'm really good at telling those people where to go, you know, especially when you have kids and grandkids and, you know, it's like, come on, bro, get a life, figure it out, you know, especially these single guys out there. You never tell people what you have. 100%, Arlene. You know, always just say you're broke. I heard that from somebody. They said, if you're always complaining about your business, you're doing good, and just always keep saying you're broke. You know, and that's just kind of how I roll too. You know, it's mostly true for them. You know, so I don't really have to lie about it. But yeah, you don't. You know. I don't have any problem doing that, but I see, you know, a lot. That's why most people in vending fail, because they, you know, they overspend. You know, I know some people right now that I could already tell it's not going to work out for all of them. I hope it does, but you know, there's people in vending. Like for me, for example, if I had a lot of success over the last few years and got a brick and mortar and thinking that I'm the shit, it may or may not be a good idea. You know, time will tell. And I know like 3 people now that have brick and mortars. One person isn't in their shop yet, but they will be soon. So we'll see how it goes. I seen one day, one of the people's, the power was out and it's out of their control because it was like a city thing. So I don't know how that worked out for them. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, guys. Let's move on. But yeah, so anyway, with the video games, if you have young people that are addicted to video games or like to play video games, watch out for this shit. I'm telling you right now, it's not so much of an issue right now, but things like this, they can just change it overnight. You know, it's just kind of like anything else that happens in our government and in our society these days with AI and data centers and all this. It's going to be a problem. There's just a quick little video of Charlie Kirk saying he knew what was going to happen. I think this is the last time he was on Megyn Kelly, and he just knew.
Have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, you know, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda.
It's crazy, you know, it's such a polarizing figure that none of us knew anything about, but now is like somehow one of the most, you know, inconsequential people of all time after the fact. Interesting. I got to run off to the little goats with the wheels on the rescue farm. See you. All right, Patty, have a good one. Have fun with the little goats. That'd be awesome. What else do we have here? We'll just listen to this lady call out the city council.
Hello. Hi, my name's Ari. I came in to talk about the $300,000 that you guys want to give to the trans and queer community. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that in a city that has a housing crisis, sex trafficking problem, and a city that has a serious drug problem, you guys want to give $300,000 away in the name of a fictional genocide that's not occurring. Okay, I think it's really insulting to people who have actually suffered an attempt by governments to systemically erase their existence from this land. I think it's insulting to this nation. What's really happened is trans migrants have moved from state to state, just like me. Like I came here 10 years ago for the same thing, just for opportunity, rebuilt my whole life, found love. But they've moved because women, adult human females, have said they're not comfortable with males in their bathrooms, in their prisons, in their rape shelters, okay? And so they've come here to hide so they can oppress women. That's what it's really about. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous to see a city council with this many women on it who do not know what women are. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You have Trump's FBI breaking up sex trafficking.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you, Ari.
I mean, when you call balls and strikes, you got to give that lady some credit because she's absolutely right, you know? And that's kind of what's happening is people are literally, you know, moving from state to state to avoid rape shelters. That's what you could call it. A school is a rape shelter now, you know? And we've seen it happen. Longview, Washington, rape shelter. The elementary that my granddaughter was going to go to, a fifth grader sexually assaults a kindergartner in the bathroom. Rape shelter. You know, because these laws that's what they're doing. They're encouraging, what's the word too? Breeding. They're making these people. They're making these little rapists and encouraging it and sheltering them with all these disgusting fucking LGBTQA, all that bullshit. You know, that's what it is. So even though she kind of looks like a libtard, she's definitely right. You notice Candace was live last night, like late last night, or for her normal live show. She usually goes live every afternoon. I guess it would be like 6 on the East Coast, 6 to 7 on the East Coast. So I guess that is at night. I hope Candace gets a neutral location for the debate. Imagine if they have access to her. No, that's where they're doing it at. It is her home, sweet tea. And Patrick Bet-David, she's been to his house before. So she said she feels comfortable with him, you know. And so, no, Andrew's coming to her house, but she's moving because of that group, that Club 92 Twitter account. If people don't know what that is, there was a group of 94 people, but they called themselves the Club 92. And they were, it was anti-Candace chat group. But they started doxing her and, you know, calling for her to be killed and all of this shit. And she found out about it. So they're moving, which is why they don't care that they're coming to this house, because they're closing up shop and starting fresh somewhere new, which, you know, they're loaded. So her husband's worth like $250 million. And his family is like royalty. So they probably don't even have to they probably don't have to buy a house. Maybe. What else? Let's see here. Don't know where it could be AI, but it's super creepy. And a lot of times those people will show you things that there's always a little bit of truth and stuff. So who knows? Is the earth really just one big fat face, like Erica Kurt's face is really just one big platform in space that we're floating around on, eventually to get gobbled up? This is a burnt up fire truck in Spokane, Washington. I don't buy it myself personally. I think it's bullshit, but we'll look at it.
Clarification on exactly what happened from Spokane County Fire District 10 today. Essentially, during the day of the fire, this truck was acting as a water tender, and the operator was actually on his way back to refill it with water when the front tire kind of went off the road into a ditch. He got out to assess the damage, see if there was any damage, and then couldn't get it back on the road. The flames kind of overtook it. The engine shut down, and just kind of had to abandon it. So by now, I'm sure you've all seen this image.
Okay, so he got a flat tire and left it by the fire. You know, to me, it just kind of seems like an excuse that the fire department is using an excuse to of why they allowed all those people's houses to burn. You know, it's kind of funny because, you know, and we do know some firefighters in our community here on YouTube, former firefighters. But I know that there's certain sections of the fire department and the police and all of them that are crooked as a motherfucking you can get. I mean, the police, for example, look at the police in UVU, Utah. If you know anything about the Charlie Kirk thing and what happened at the moments after he was killed and how the police acted, it's just, come on. It is just obvious that it was all pre-planned and how they allowed everything to get trampled on and all this kind of stuff. There was an accident out here in front of my house 6 months ago. And, you know, it's a busy intersection out there. There's a bar, kitty corner, a donut shop right next door. Well, this dude high on drugs flips his car, one person accident, and he literally flips an SUV. Thank God nobody was parked in the parking spot. And he's on top of like bushes and shit right by the donut shop, right in front of the donut shop. The fire department comes to have to pull him out of the back. They can't get him out of the door. Well, I go out there and I'm fucking pissed because my daughter has parked there in the past, waiting for me to come out. I'll be like, yeah, just park over at the donut shop and I'll come out. Right in that spot. So I'm fucking not happy. They don't ever do anything to these people around here. And so the head of I don't know if he's the head of the fire department, but he's like a fire chief. He's out there. And I'm like, I tell him, I'm like, I go, hey man, this stuff wouldn't happen like this if you guys would do a better job of policing Tacoma. I go, you guys just allow people to act crazy out here. And this is what happens. And he goes, hey, accidents happen, man. That's what he says to me. I go, accident? I go, this is no fucking accident. I go, this guy is, when they pulled this, he was a black dude. When they pulled him out, he's like, he looks like a fucking zombie. He has no idea where he is. His eyes are bulging out of his head and he's bouncing around like a fucking crazy man. And I'm thinking to myself, this motherfucker has no business even driving a fucking car. You know, no wonder this happened. Well, I look over and there's a regular fireman, you know, and he hears this altercation between me and the fire chief guy. And I can tell that fireman, he's totally on my side. Totally on my side. He's doing everything but throwing his middle fingers up at the fire chief behind his back. He's nodding his head in agreement with everything I'm saying the whole time. You know, I could tell that he's just fucking sick of it. So, I mean, to think that some of these departments aren't crooked as they fucking come, you know, I don't know how the hell they allowed all those buildings to burn over there. I mean, it's just it's criminal. It's criminal. I hope that, you know, and it'll never get investigated. It's just like everything else, but somebody needs to go to prison for that. And you would think that it would be at least one firefighter, you know, that's in charge of all of that shit. They need to start holding these people accountable. You know, I think in LA, you know, remember it was the LGBT DEI firefighter. She got fired for talking bad about Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, but then she got rehired. So it's just a big dog and pony show. No one's ever held accountable, you know. Meanwhile, 700 buildings burned. Did you guys hear about the storms in Chicago? They've had like not only tornadoes, but straight line winds, 130 mile an hour straight line winds. And the natives are saying, you know, the locals are saying, this shit ain't normal. You know, the people that live there their whole life, just like everywhere else, it's not normal. That's the new model for America. This isn't normal, you know. I hope a lot of these guys are on the a lot of these guys are on the take for sure. Yes, you already know. It's crooked out there. This lady lives right next to UVU, Utah Valley University. The day or the day after the shooting, the police went door to door asking the neighbors, "Did you lose a gun?"
So at the chain link fence for all the yards, that is UVU right there. So we had police up on the roof yesterday of UVU, police going through our yards and also the property back here. Yeah, the police were there all night last night. They had asked the family if they had lost a weapon, a firearm, and they were like, no. So this morning they were saying a weapon was found. So
So that was the morning after the shooting. And this person noted that in a murder investigation, officers do not go door to door politely inquiring whether anyone happens to be missing a high-powered rifle. That is not standard canvassing language. It's the kind of question you ask when trying to figure out how a gun ended up in the woods and would prefer a convenient explanation. Don't know. What do we got here? Speaking of people that are on the take, is there anybody in this photograph right here? Pam Bondi, RFK, Dr. Oz, Trump. Anybody in here that's not on the take? Well, this is about recovery. But how can we have discussion about recovery in this country when it comes to drugs, fentanyl, or whatever, when the people that are presenting the recovery are also the ones pushing the drugs? So
addiction doesn't discriminate, but recovery can look just like you and me. There's always hope for recovery. Great American Recovery, the executive order, Trump's leadership very clearly lays it all out, how we're going to approach this, talks about the problem that's so pervasive across America. It talks about the need for everyone to come together to address this. What we want to do is build a system that fully wraps around people that are struggling.
So, and all of this sounds all good and all fine and dandy, but we know this story, and it is so true what I said just a minute ago, about the people that are presenting this recovery are the ones that have been and still are pushing the drugs. What everybody needs to do is call these people on their bullshit and tell them, like, we know what the fuck you guys are doing, okay? And so fuck your recovery, because you guys are the ones that are doing all this shit, building all these high-rise apartments and allowing drug addicts to go into them, allowing fucking parks to be overridden with, the same people that are allowing all these fucking rules to fuck us over, you know what I mean, are offering recovery at what? A cost to the taxpayers? It's just a way to steal our money is what it is. Steal our money and steal our quality of life from us, basically. Mailman Nick, who is in Chicago, about the storms. Yeah. So I bet he's talking about them because it's wild over there. I do have one video of them. I can play a couple more too. Speaking of getting screwed over, a lot of people probably don't know this. I mean, we've all heard of the HB1 visa, but have you heard of the OPT, optional practical training? Basically saying that employers can get a 20% discount if they hire foreigners for their business. And then there's the HB1 visa as well.
For the U.S. tech company.
And if you guys don't know who this is Lily Tang. She is she from New Hampshire? She's a Chinese, kind of like deflected from the Chinese communism, and super fucking smart lady.
For the U.S. tech companies to hire foreigners in our country. It's called OPT, optional and practical training. What is the incentive? Is to give them payroll tax discount. If they hire foreign students over our American graduates, the companies, employers don't have to pay payroll taxes. That's bizarre. And it's not passed by Congress. It's under executive order. For years ago, maybe even the Republican president through DHS. I'm against that. I'm a New Hampshire first and American first. There is no way that they should, basically make the competition field not fair to our American kids. Now, that's OPT, okay? Search that yourselves. OPT should be abolished. And the number 2 is H-1B visa. It was designed for our big tech companies to go hire foreign engineers if they prove they cannot find the same talents in our country. It has been abused for years. Not everybody is going to hire H-1B, even though the congressional quota is $85,000 a year. So you see all the big companies fire our American workers, professionals, middle class. Those are middle class jobs, and go hire Indian H-1B visa because they can get 20% discount. I'm against that too. So I always say it cannot be abused, and the congressional oversight is needed, and also enforcement of the law is needed for the.
It's important to hear that kind of stuff because a lot of people don't know that. Like the HB1 visa, what she said there, it was put in place and employers had to prove in order to use that the American talent wasn't there first. They're not doing that. And the fact that Congress doesn't vote on that's an executive order that was put in place a long time ago. Out of all the executive orders that Trump and all these people sign, that one needs to be abolished for sure. You don't have to pay payroll tax if you hire a foreign student. What? What is that even? What was the context for that in the first place? A backdoor tax break. We got to increase the taxes for the public, but we'll give the companies a backdoor tax break if you hire foreigners. I mean, they are just fucking screwing us left and right. Yeah, I totally agree with this, Arlene, for sure. They want the country to collapse, and that's what they're doing. Joe Della, hello. How are you? Good morning. And we know people like this too. And for example, like let's say lawyers, for example, they're saying that you're not supposed to be able to use AI, but they are. And so, these people are way better at talking to computers than we are. Because for now, you don't need to know how AI works. You just need to know how to talk to AI. And the people that know how to communicate with the AI models are the ones that are going to be most effective, are going to come out, But for a lot of us, that means absolutely nothing. Because what the fuck are we... it's not that we don't know what to tell it. Why are we even telling it anything in the first place? For what? What the fuck are we telling it? So, it's just, I always make the analogy of Grateful. Good morning. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. That movie Rounders. If you sit at a poker table and you don't see a fish, you are the fish. And that's us. We are the fish. We're looking around and it's like, we are the fucking dummies at the table, unfortunately. It's going to be a rough road for a lot of people. We'll listen to Trump real quick here.
No, not surprised. I have a lot of threats. I have a lot of threats that you don't know about. Any consequential president has a lot of threats. Non-consequential presidents don't get threatened. And I think that I'm maybe the most consequential president. There's nobody who's done more than me in a period of almost 6 years. There's nobody. No, not surprised. I have a lot of threats. I have a lot of threats that you don't know about. Any consequential president has a lot of threats. Non-consequential presidents don't get threatened. And I think that I'm maybe the most consequential president.
Sorry, guys. I had to go run and grab some water real quick. Nobody. Oh, you know what? I said this yesterday. Where's Tommy at? Is Tommy still here? Yeah. If Tommy says Barron Trump's going to be president one more time, no, he's not. Quit saying Barron Trump is going to be president. I seen something about Trump. Barron Trump is in trouble, actually, that he might have to testify in front of, under oath in front of Congress for what? I can't remember. Roly-poly fish heads. Yep. And as far as Trump goes, you know, it's just so sad that he has to be the guy that, I mean, excuse me. If I had Mar-a-Lago, you know, that palace that he has, that would be like an achievement of a lifetime. You could pass that on for generations. That alone, you know, the good you could do from that building, you know. Maguch's son or daughter got married there, I believe, you know. But this guy's just never happy. He has to just be everything. He literally became, you know, I know this is who his role model is. Kim Jong-il from North Korea. You can go watch the Vice documentary with Shane Smith, and you know, he goes into North Korea. These people, I don't know if they truly believe it or not, but they're told to believe that these presidents, the grandson, the dad, and the grandfather, they invented the desk. They have the world's lowest golf score. They directed this movie. They invented the world's best recipe for whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they give them credit for all that stuff. You know, that's Trump now. He needs credit for everything. Oh, it's the best, and everything has to be the best. This is the best piece of paper ever because I touched it, you know? Remember the scene with Tony and Fiorio and the Sopranos after a night of partying together, standing next to the helicopter? That just crossed my mind. See, I never watched the Sopranos, so I don't know, but I know Tommy knows what you're talking about. I was too busy watching Goodfellas, Grateful, when the Sopranos was on. I rewatched it like 100 times. Let's see here. What else do we have? Benjamin Netanyahu talking with somebody. I don't know if this is current, but
different countries. Oh. Okay. Have you? Different countries. Oh.
Yeah, easy to tell who orchestrated that propagandist event called COVID. It's always the same people. It's always them. Speaking of it always being them, here is a look at where's Hoboken at? Where's Cliffside Park? Where's North Bergen Street? Is this Jersey? Does Jersey have an Upper West Side? Who lives in the Upper West Side? And why don't they have any flock cameras? Huh? Look at all the flock cameras in Jersey here. All up and down this part of Jersey, except for the upper Jew side. I mean, the upper west side. Everybody else is getting Jewed. All these areas are getting Jewed in the blue. That's Jew blue. That's what color that is. Is that royal blue? Is that baby blue? No, that's Jew blue. Don't you know Jew blue? Interesting how that works, huh? 15 minutes. Well, that's where you can get away with everything. Or that's probably just under like satellite surveillance. That box is Upper West Side Manhattan. That's where they all live at. Interesting. See, I know nothing about Jersey and New York and the geography and all that. I went one time when I was 5, and that was it. I do want to go back. I just don't know when. When I say go back, pretty much coming for the first time, because I remember nothing. I do remember a stoop, and my stepdad's grandmother had a bakery down below the thing. It's either a bakery or like bread they were making. Never watched Sopranos either, says Hey Teacher. Really? That's 2 of us. What else do we have here? And I know people don't like me saying that word, the Jew, you know. So I apologize if that offends some people. Because I know some people are Jewish. It's not really about being Jewish. I don't even understand the difference between Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist. I mean, you have God, you have Buddha, you've got, I think, Allah or Muhammad, or, you know what I mean? Some people believe in the sun and the moon as the gods, you know, like the Wiccan and the earth and the fire, and to each their own. I'm just saying that there's a group of people that control everything. A lot of them live right there in the Upper West Side, and they don't have flock cameras. I mean, that's just my point too. We'll move on. All right, Pastor Rob McCoy. I can't remember why I bookmarked this one, but we'll just listen to it. It's a short little video here.
So now to help run cover, they're sending people like Rob McCoy, Mikey's dad, out into the podcast circuit to lie for them. Watch the clip.
Really looking for the truth? Because you've got one of the most closed-shut cases you can ever imagine. 7 separate confessions, DNA on the casing, DNA on the etching. You know, you go through the whole thing. You can dial in the video and see almost him pulling the trigger. And yet every one of your vain speculations and innuendos and conspiracies have all flopped, and they've all been debunked. And you're still buying into it. I mean, it's like you're at Vegas and you're addicted here, and you're going to keep going and pulling more money out of the ATM because you're going to win sooner or later. She's not going to have a return on her investment. Brian's going to win that lawsuit. She's going to, listen, she makes a lot of money at this.
Yes, she does.
And you know what's crazy? And, you know, we all, anybody that knows Rob McCoy knows that he's just a disgusting piece of shit human being. Turning Point USA only exists. I mean, this is literally the scene from the movie Casino. And it literally is, because they only exist out there because of Miriam Adelson. They only exist because of that donor money. Ain't nobody in America handing over money to TPUSA for any reason whatsoever. It's either being stolen from our taxes, or it's from, hate to say it again, guys, the Jewish donor class is what they call them. You know, because all these guys are Jewish billionaires, Jewish Zionists, including Miriam Adelson. And if anybody thinks that she's a good person and is not an enemy to the United States, you may not be a good person. You might be an enemy to the United States, because there's more than one in this country right now. I mean, I don't even think we could, I think it's impossible to count. You know, our country isn't a country right now. It's in the middle of is it a revolution? Is it just evolution? Hostile takeover, coup d'etat, something's happening, you know, and after all the smoke clears, what will it look like? You know, what will it look like on January 21st, 2028, when, or 2029, when the new president takes over? You know, what will our country even look like by then? Will Trump make it out of office? There's been 10 attempts on his life already. You know, Lindsey Graham just died and they had the Air Force Base. And I was thinking about this morning. You know, they were like best friends almost. I mean, Dana White and Trump, I think, are best friends. But Lindsey Graham was a really good friend of Trump's. They spent a lot of time together. And, you know, those weird, creepy, you know, baby raper type of people, you know, who knows what type, you know, Trump's probably just, I don't even know what I'm thinking. You know, Trump told Joe Rogan not too long ago, because Joe Rogan did the White House event, commentated the White House event. And Trump told him, everybody's got to die sometime, because Rogan was asking him about, aren't you worried about security and a drone attack and this? And Trump told him, hey man, everybody's got to die somehow, you know, or something along those lines. So I think Trump just thinks he's a motherfucking cowboy, you know, on the steel horse I ride. I'm a cowboy and I'm wanted, dead or alive. That's what he thinks, you know. Once you start watching Sopranos, you can't stop. I am going to New Jersey late September, early October after my nephew's baby is born. I watched Sopranos, but not while it was on. Yeah, you know, it's weird because it's so weird because to me, Goodfellas was lightning in a bottle, because I'm not interested. The only reason why I talk about anything mob related is to piss off Tommy and AOV, you know, and Dean and Todd too. But it's mainly to piss off Tommy and AOV, just to talk about it in the chat and stuff like that. But I'm not interested in any of it. But Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time, and Casino is tied for number 2. So if anybody can figure that out, but yet I hate The Godfather and I've never watched The Sopranos. It's not that I don't like The Sopranos, because there's some people from Goodfellas in The Sopranos. I don't know. Anyway, let's finish this out. Rob McCoy.
And I hope she enjoys every penny of it, because because in this life, because you'll have hell to pay in the next. And I hope she, you know, I've met her once in passing, and it wasn't anything significant, but I had a really neat conversation with her husband, George. And I liked the guy, and I believed him to be an evangelical Christian, and he spoke of the Lord, and his dad, Sir Michael Farmer, heads up the Jewish Christian organization in England. And you know, he's royalty in that sense. He's part of that class. And he is a Zionist. I can't imagine what's happening in their family and the division there. I know that George has had some struggles, you know, and it's got to be tough.
That's what panic looks like. Desperation. That's what desperation and panic look like. Rob McCoy, the guy who told you that his son, Mikey McCoy, acted heroically. He was covered with blood on September 10th. When you can clearly see him on video, he didn't even look at Charlie. He was on the phone. Charlie's lavalier microphone blew up. It malfunctioned. And Mikey McCoy just walked away on the phone, in stride. Never missed a beat. Never cared, never looked back, wasn't shocked, wasn't surprised, wasn't startled. No, just walked away on the phone. But Rob McCoy, Pastor Rob McCoy, tells you that he acted heroically and he was covered in blood.
Mute minute. Side note, Tommy says, yeah, I know. That is true. You can't piss off Tommy, you know. Tommy will decide when he gets pissed off. Like if you ask, well, that ain't what I heard about Junior when he wants to talk about his vacation or something like that. If you just make an offhanded comment like that, like Spataro did, you can set him off, but that's lightning in a bottle too. Everything else, he's unfazed by. Side note. Now I forgot the fucking side note. Golly, what was it? Something about Sopranos, maybe for a 2 to 3 hour movie. Going to New Jersey. It'll come back to me.
So now,
but yeah, the thing with Rob McCoy, this guy here, I'm just gonna move on. Never mind. Let me just move on. Jake Shields, he is definitely. We think along the same lines. He's a little bit more radical than I am, which I guess is saying something. He writes, "Hey guys, look, another Jew lying about Tyler Robinson. I'm starting to notice a pattern here." And then we've got this show, Viva Frey, if you guys don't know who he is. He goes, when they can't rebut obvious facts or rebut obvious facts, I don't know how to say that word, rebut. Sweet Tea, help me out. They play the only card they have left, the Juno card. So let's listen to, Candace and Andrew Wilson are going on the Patrick Bet David podcast. Let's listen to how they feel about Candace really quick.
At some point, her credibility, is going to go down the tubes because she needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet?
It's still going. I think
he was there in the room.
Reading it.
Andrew Colbert was there in the room. You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
20.
This dude, right? So this interview was quite a while ago. This is one of the interviews where I told Patrick Bet David he could go fuck his mother. But this dude that he has on here is completely. This guy is a super fucking drug addict. If you can't hold your shit together long enough to go on video, not high on pills or heroin or fentanyl or whatever the fuck you're on, dude, you're really fucked up. You really got to be a fucked up individual if you cannot not be high to go on PBD. That's, one of the most watched podcasts there is out there. Maybe not anymore, but at least back then it was.
2015,
Oh,
2016.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
So let's without even being biased.
There's a
is Candace even involved
There's
in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
no question proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup.
Okay, here's a side note. Tommy says he's only here for watch hours. I seen this thing today. Was it today or last night? They were talking about that. Who was it? And they were talking about subscribers versus watch hours, and that how to grow your channel is so much more important for the watch hours that are a lot harder to get than subscribers. Subscribers you can get with, just posting shorts and videos, and people like it, but they don't have to watch the whole thing to subscribe. To get the watch hours, that takes a lot of work. So for sure. Is there any chance for me getting any watch hours on this show? No, there's not. Nor do I, nor will it, is it one of my goals. So I appreciate it, Tommy. I know you're halfway joking, but there's no hope for watch hours on this channel. It's funny because we were talking yesterday about the internet attack, the bandwidth wars that are starting. We're going to see a lot more of this where YouTube channels basically are not going to be able to operate, at least like they normally would, because of internet connections or whatever the fuck they're doing to us. The short of it is we're going to see a lot of that little spinning shit, the buffering, you know. It happened on Slim's channel yesterday. Are all these just separate issues, or is it one big attack? I mean, who's to say? But I just feel like we're going to see it happen more and more and more, and it's going to become more and more consequential, meaning people are going to lose money over it, you know. People are going to have scheduled lives that they could potentially be making thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, that are not going to be able to happen because the microphone went out, because it's just, you know, impossible to get a good connection. We shall see. But yeah, this guy is just a scumbag. Let's get past him. Let's listen to Patrick.
Yeah, she's not one of the names that
you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's
I mean,
not the funeral.
The heir to
I'm saying
CTP.
she doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean,
so that's just what it's so good for this to happen because you guys are watching everything that I'm saying and you can watch them lie. Eric Bolling, I just don't even get this one. How can you say that I have not spoken at a Turning Point USA conference in years when I literally went on tour with Turning Point USA on college campuses last year? Like that's just incredible. You didn't know that I went, I was on tour for Turning Point USA last year. You don't remember that happening at all. Okay. Then I get fired from the Daily Wire. Turning Point USA is the first to issue a Christ is King statement of support. Then I do, what was it, the YWLS conference right after that. So let's just actually bring this in. What you are referring to, which is kind of a part of the story that we're telling you, is that the Zionists started circling Charlie and trying to control things. This was actually in the around September or whatever. And I was always very honest that Charlie and I had a conversation and they were putting pressure on, you can't talk to her. She's talking about Israel, blah, blah. I said, Charlie, I am under so much fire right now. Do not even, I'm like radioactive. Don't even worry about the conference. I have to rebuild my whole life. I have to figure out how to get my podcast back on the road. I literally, I'm banned from Australia because I stood up to Zionists. Like I have so much going on. For me not to speak at AmpFest is nothing. Like that doesn't even mean anything. Save yourself, okay? It means nothing to me.
And you know, speaking of the Zionists and stuff, how many of those live in the Upper West Side of Manhattan? And this is what we're talking about here, you know, the two-tier justice system. And, you know, it's not just that. It's like some people could make the argument, well, who really cares if the rich people don't get pulled over by the police? Money doesn't mean anything to them anyways. You know, like they kind of should get like a pass on certain things. They need better security because of all the money and stuff they have, that type of shit. That's one argument. But that's not what this is. What's happening is they are using technology against us. You know, the term NGO, non-governmental organization, is a term used to kill Americans legally, because the military under the Constitution is not supposed to be able to kill people in the United States, but they are. You know, they did. It was the people that killed Charlie Kirk is part of it was a military operation, you know, but there's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of those moving parts happen to be Zionists. So, and we just, you know, our country is not the same. Our country now is ruled by people that have no problem orchestrating mass shootings, forest fires, assassinations. You know, we know that they blew up a whole bunch of people with pagers simultaneously. When's that going to happen here? Technology has always been used against people. 100%. They say 95% of technology is used to kill people. I mean, that's a literal statistic. So it is all about the military for sure. What else do we have here? Speaking of orchestrating events and stuff like that, and you guys know that I believe that the Bite of Seattle shooting was orchestrated. I believe that the Spokane fires was an attack. I also believe that the In-N-Out Berger shooting was orchestrated, and it's orchestrated by the same people. But let's listen to how the investigation for the Fight of Seattle shooting's going 2 weeks later.
And I'm just gonna be point blank here and ask you one that is on the minds of many members of the public, and they absolutely deserve to know. Is there a killer on the loose?
Speaking with my detectives this morning, we still have to comb through some video surveillance that was there. I can't say yes or no. There is a possibility, and I think we're getting to the end of that once we get the evidence that we need from our detectives, looking at the video, looking at some social media things. I think we'll have a better response and a better idea if there's actual killer loose on the loose right now.
And I'm just gonna be point blank here and ask you one that.
So, I mean, CG2, hello, how are you? Good to see you. They still need to review footage, he says. These guys are absolute, they're just dog shit human beings. There's just no other way to put it. I hate to be so negative. I know people don't like to hear that type of talk, but there's just no other way to put it. I mean, you look at this dude, this cop right here, this so-called cop, you could just tell you could probably buy him off with a carton of Newports, 2 packs of Swisher Sweets, and a 40 ounce of Old English. Literally. Please don't arrest me. Here's a carton of Newports. All right, son. And this is the new police chief. This guy was not even the police chief when the shooting happened 2 weeks ago. They fired that guy because he was at his home in Chicago when the shooting happened. So they hire this guy who also has a home in Chicago. What? Why? You can't make this up. If anybody thinks that they don't just plant people in government, in law enforcement, in the fire department, in law, the judicial system, this is proof right here. Complete, utter incompetence. 130-mile-an-hour winds in the Chicagoland area again. A tornado just touched down one town over from me. This is happening every other week here, and it's not normal. Yep, and I'll tell you, that's some of the most dangerous weather conditions that there are, because you can see a tornado because it picks up debris, unless it's at night. At night, you're screwed. But during the day, those straight line or streamline winds, they're invisible, and I've seen them, they started just, when we were kids, they didn't have straight line winds. Now it's just because the government, I'm telling you guys that that's just manufactured, it's technology, but they can literally create hurricane force winds, that'll affect like a parking lot and not anything outside of the perimeter of the parking lot. Like the wind I've seen, this is like 2015. I've seen videos where these winds were so strong they could blow the hood off of a car. Literally, the hood would be running, flying down the McDonald's parking lot. But yet, outside of the parking lot, the wind is hardly blowing. That's why they call it a straight line wind, because it literally just goes in a straight line, for the width of, whatever, however wide it just happens to be. I don't know how it works. So, I mean, these people got to be careful because, and it's happened to me more than once, twice that I can think of, to where, you can't blame everything on the government. Obviously, just breezes just come by, but the last time it happened to me was in June at the Strawberry Festival in Fircrest. And I was the only tent at the whole festival affected by it. And I was on the end, to be fair, but this mysterious fucking wind literally picked up my entire fucking tent. And I have 4 cinder blocks, concrete cinder blocks, on one on each end that I use as weights with ratchet straps. I go above and beyond everybody else for that reason alone, right there. And that was not enough. It picked my tent up, and it's like fucking Wizard of Oz type of shit. I'm not kidding you, you know, and it bent 2 of my frames. Luckily, I had some extra ones that I replaced it because it only takes a second. And then the other time was across from the coffee shop in Auburn, middle of the summer, not a single fucking, no wind in sight. And I only had a concrete block on 2 corners this time because there's no wind this day. Well, I'm out there talking with my friend Maria, and all of a sudden in the street, and the wind always blows the same direction here because of the jet stream. So it always comes from the coast. It goes west to east. This particular day, I see some leaves in the middle of the road swirling around like a fucking tornado. I'm like, that's weird. And it's moving the opposite direction. Man, within 10 seconds of me going, well, that's weird, my tent flips upside down. And my table, which has my snow cone machine and all my syrups on it, flips upside down too. Not just the fucking tent. On a bright sunny day. And that was it. Back to normal. Just 1 second of just sheer fucking chaos. So, you know, you got to be careful out there. Or last year at the there was a witches market in Yelm, Washington, where a cottonwood tree snapped at the base and fell down, and it landed on 7 tents, 7 vendors' tents. It killed a 31-year-old guy. And that same day, I was actually at a different event, and a tree fell right, or probably exactly at the same time. So, I must be cursed. I am cursed. Osada, there's a website called Have I Been Flocked? A friend of mine looked herself up. A certain cop pulled her info twice. Guess he's sweet on her. Oh, wow. Yeah, you got to be careful, them creepy cops, man. Over the last 8 days, every night there has been a wicked thunderstorm with wind like that. Crazy. That happens here a lot. Wild weather comes out of nowhere. Yeah. You know, for me, it's just I've lived here in this area my whole life, you know, and I've always, since a kid, been a weather nerd, looking up at the clouds. And even I can remember even, you know, like 2nd grade, looking up at the clouds thinking, this is fucking bullshit. I know this is fucking bullshit, you know? Like, my little brain, like, I couldn't think, you know, I couldn't, you know, wasn't coming to me yet in the words, you know, but I just remember watching it was at my grandma's house. Me and my cousin Megan were sitting out there and watching, you know, she was telling me, because she was older than me, look, this cloud is the shape of a fucking whatever, you know, a lion, or she would say some shit like that. And I'm like, what? And, you know, to look up there and watch these clouds pass by. I'm like, I know you're lying. You do not know fucking lions up there. We are started to get the storms today. We are supposed to get the storms today, starting at noon. Looking serious. Just hope it doesn't rip up the garden. Like poor Johnny's garden got ripped up. Man, I'm telling you guys, it just sounds like man, this dude is just fucking stupid talking like this. But I'm just going to say it because I know I'm right. Unfortunately, we are being attacked. It's just, there's no other way to put it. We are under attack, and they're using every tactic under the sun to do it, whether it be with guns or fire or wind or water or earthquake or whatever the fuck they decide to do next. We are under attack, so we got to be careful because they want to fuck us up, you know, whoever they are. You know, the faceless, nameless people out there that control everything. America is under attack. Oh, Todd Father got his tent on his truck. Nice. Looks good, dude. Hold on. I'm jealous. That's the only reason why I'm talking shit about Todd's truck. I normally don't get jealous about shit, but fuck that guy. Fuck Todd and his brand new truck. Okay? I wish I had that truck. I deserve that truck. I'm the one with the business. Okay? Nobody gives a fuck what he drives to work. He goes inside and he's in the fucking building all day. Okay? I pull up to the events and people look at my truck and go, what the fuck is this guy selling? Because whatever he's selling, I'm not buying it until he fixes that big dent in the back. And why is there sugar in the back seat? So I want that truck. But it looks nice, Todd. What is Joe saying? Very hot tomorrow is going to be hotter. I've never known so many consecutive days as hot as this. Quote one of our favorite Stevie Wonder, it's hotter than July. Yeah, that does sound bad. You will have a new truck one day. I hope so. Hey, teacher. How the fuck? You know, this is what pisses me off about this guy. Okay? He quit doing his show. He just goes to work every day. Okay? Minding his own business, getting ahead in life, getting everything squared away. Next thing you know, he's got a fucking brand new truck. And here I am on YouTube with 540 subscribers, and I still got to go make my shortcakes that are going to go in my 2005 Toyota Tundra. You do have a business too. That's right. I forgot. You do got the DJ business. I did forget about that. You should get that thing wrapped, dude. It's pretty badass truck. All right, I'm going to type in Chicago storms real quick. Let's see, because I heard that people were like having to take shelter under overpasses and stuff too. Good Lord, look at this. So and if you put it in the context that this is what I believe. People can believe what they want. I've been saying the same shit for decades, and there's documentaries out there. I remember watching a documentary in 2007 about the governments had signed treaties long ago about not being able to weaponize the weather because they do have control over the weather. But that's what this is. This is those people in control of the weather saying, fuck you. Scary shit. A view from space shows a violent line of storms with embedded tornadoes roaring through Chicago with severe thunderstorm warnings, including hurricane-force wind gusts up to 100 miles an hour. Winds as high as 130 miles an hour were detected just above the surface. So just above the surface is where our brains are. You know what I mean? That's where your heart is, your lungs are, your kidneys, your stomach. And then you have these pieces of metal roof flying 100 miles an hour along the surface. You know what I mean? It's going to just literally cut people's heads off and shit. I mean, look at this house right here.
The swing set is gone.
And I can tell you, the sweet tea knows I'm right about everything all the time. I can just tell you, based on, the way that those guys are talking, the trauma that they're feeling, whether they consciously realize it or not, the trauma that their cells know, that their fibers in their body know, is that they were attacked. That's why they're out there feeling the way that they're not feeling like that because of Mother Nature. They're feeling like that because they were attacked and they don't know why, and a lot of people are going to wake up feeling like that, if we don't start realizing that this is what's going on. Oh my God. I mean, this looks like Florida. You know, I could understand if this was Florida and it was Hurricane Irene or Hurricane, you know, so-and-so. This was July. These are all back in July. So they've been dealing with this for quite a while. And people are saying that's not normal. So it is what it is, guys, right? I mean, Candace just put out a tweet here. What's it say? I've barely had my coffee and I can already tell that the overwhelming evidence crowd is lying about the recent case filings in the hope that no one will actually read them or understand them. How are they not tired of running the exact same strategy and losing every time? Paid a bunch of influencers to make emotive claims and hope people don't actually read through the filings. It is exactly as they did with the ATF report and every other element of this case. Lie quickly, repeatedly, and hope no one will take notice. I will report on you what is actually in the filings later today. So, you know, Candace is just built differently. I mean, she is just built differently. What do we got here? The Perseid meteor shower is ramping up. NASA calling it one of the best meteor showers of the year. They always say that. The annual shower typically peaks in mid-August and can produce bright meteors with long streaks of light. Up to 100 meteors per hour could be visible under ideal conditions. I'm not really big on the shooting stars. I'll never forget the first time I seen a satellite. We were out at Port Ludlow. My Uncle Michael told me what it was. I was like, what the fuck is that? He goes, oh, that's a satellite. Because it's so dark out there. You know, you see the shooting stars and all that. Then you just see this little probe. You know, this was when I was like in junior high. He goes, that's a satellite. And I go, no way. I couldn't believe it. But I don't know. Some people like watching them. You know, I'll tell you how my brain works. And this is how fucked up I am, okay? A few months ago, maybe even a year ago, they made a huge deal about the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, which you can see, I think, once or twice a year from here. I've seen it once in my life, I think. They made a huge deal about it. Oh, it's going to be pink and all this. And then sure shit, the next day on Facebook, it's just flooded. Everybody had photos of it. Everybody had photos of it on Facebook. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if the government wanted to fucking, you know, contaminate a certain portion of the population, this is how they could do it, you know, like just, and then spray, have some planes out, you know, because how many people were out there at the same time when they tell you the peak hours is between this time and this time, you know, and then they just come by and fucking coat us with whatever bullshit they want us to directly inhale, you know? So that's just how fucked up my brain is sometimes. Looks like we have a fire here in Portland. Lake Chelan right now. This is Eastern Washington here in my state.
You know, there's smoky in heaven.
You know, even though we're being attacked and everybody's getting burnt out of their houses, let's make a TikTok video. Aindu's in the house. You're right about everything. I'm done. Yep, you already know. That. Oh, wow, I'm way behind. Let's see here. Shut up, Strawberry. There he is. What's going on, Aindu? You guys cooking today? What did I make yesterday? I I baked a cake that I was going to use for my dumpling cake pops, which ended up just going into soup cups. And then I had a bunch of ganaches that I had made, a coffee ganache, a salted caramel ganache, and a regular chocolate ganache. So it's chocolate cake in a cup with the ganache poured over the top of it like a glaze. I have about 9 of those. And I baked shortcakes yesterday. I got to go to the store and do that. I plan on being at the admin building by about 11 today, I think. Chicago mailman link. Oh, that's the guy for the, okay. I'll look at that. Hold on. Chicago mailman. Mailman. No, mailman. No, I have to use the link. Where's my phone at? Give me one sec here, guys. Look up Iowa derecho. Happened a few years ago. 100. Let's see here. Stop screen. When we go blind, we got to go to YouTube. YouTube won't pull up nasty images. You got to be careful about X. I have all the filters taken off of X so I can actually get some real information, but with that comes Mailman Nick is his name. Okay, let's see if I can find him here. This guy, right?
Did you know
How we doing? It's Mailman Nick. Follow me on Instagram at Mailman Nick. If you enjoy this content, please give me a thumbs up. Don't treat me like a 204B over here, or don't treat me like a Renfro over here. And obviously these are my own thoughts and opinions. I will not speak on behalf of the Postal Service. So, you know, the good news, thank God, Renfro, if you guys already saw the news, I obviously saw the news. I had a lot of people message me. Renfro is not seeking re-election. He's going to be... Is this the best? This pizza right here is the... This is one of the...
That's him? It's his last short? Okay, we'll watch the last one real quick. Okay, we did watch that last one then. Yeah. It's pretty well. Okay, what else were we going to look up? Iowa derecho. Hold on. Grateful said, look up Iowa derecho. Happened a few years ago. Well, it says 2020, so maybe that was it. No, not Iowa deer hunting.
This is bad. In just 5 hours,
thunderstorms raced across the state of Iowa, gaining strength considerably, becoming the costliest thunderstorm in U.S. history. Shortly before noon, the true danger would be known as it raced through Marshalltown. At 11:50 a.m., the Marshalltown airport gusted to 99 miles per hour.
Marshall County of 106-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
2 minutes later in LeGrand, winds would gust to 106 miles per hour, the beginning of a record-breaking 2 hours of wind destruction in eastern Iowa.
By 12:15, the Iowa derecho was now reaching its peak. It had a 40-mile wide swath of winds of at least 100 miles per hour, moving right through central Benton County, ultimately heading towards the Cedar Rapids metro. Inside that 40-mile wide swath was at least a 10-mile wide area where winds were gusting as high as 140 miles an hour. That was 90.
The storms are very, very...
We lost the window.
At 12:28 in Atkins in eastern Benton County, a weather station would record a wind gust of 120.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, when I was in Joplin, Missouri, you guys remember the tornado in Joplin? And it was it like took out a whole bunch of stuff, the school and all that stuff, real violent tornado. I was in Joplin and I got in a cab and I asked the cab driver about the Joplin tornado and he got fucking super pissed off about it. It was weird. He didn't want to talk about it. So I was like, oh, wow. You know, I guess got to be careful what you ask people when certain, you know, maybe he knew somebody that was killed in it or I don't know. But yeah, it was weird. Me and my buddy were like, oh, shit.
.6 miles per hour, the strongest ever recorded in the state.
Southwest side of Cedar Rapids.
Hey, teacher, are you trying to get your channel monetized by any chance? Is that one of your goals? I'm going to go to your channel. Not het teacher. Hey, teacher. Hey, teacher. There you are. So you got 318 subscribers and 57 videos. So it's probably going to be hard for you to do it and impossible for me to do it. But apparently, according to ALV, YouTube changed its rules to where, because of the music. Okay. Well, you don't have to worry about it then. But apparently in February, YouTube is requiring 8,000 watch hours to become monetized instead of 4,000. So you got to reach 4,000 watch hours before February. Otherwise, it doubles to 8,000. And I think that's per year, right? Do you have to get 8,000 watch hours per year in order to stay monetized? But that's going to just kill a lot of channels right there, probably. Is Tommy or ALV listening right now? What are the rules on watch hours for YouTube? Is it per year it resets or just one time? I think it's per year, isn't it? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Hey, teacher, I don't want to be monetized either. And, you know, I don't want to be the I told you so guy, but, you know, I always knew that it's not going to end well for a lot of people that are strictly monetized on social media. You know, for example, like I got all excited about Facebook because all of a sudden, you know, I got $9 deposited in my account 1 month, $6, $9 again. I'm like, what? Why are they giving me money for what? I didn't sign up for nothing. They just started giving me some money. So I looked at it and I'm like, oh shit, I'm missing out on all these bonuses. I could have been applying for all these bonuses I see here. So I started doing it, and I did like 3 or 4 bonuses, and I ended up making $132 that month. And they sent it to my bank account, and it's already spent. So where's the bonuses now? They haven't put no new bonuses out for, at least probably a month now. And I looked it up, and I'm like, well, when did it doesn't tell you when. No, they don't give a fuck. It's just there to just kind of incentivize you to, and I had heard other people talking about it around the same time I was doing it. So, I guess if you have a big cushion and a ton of money, you could afford to put all your eggs in one basket on social media. I'm never going to do that. Because it's going to get rougher and rougher. And this is just, how do you get 8,000 watch hours? That's got to be, I'm going to ask the computer something real quick. Since I didn't get a response from Tommy or ALV. The YouTube rules just changed where in February you need 8,000 watch hours to stay monetized. Does that mean every year you have to do 8,000 watch hours? And how many channels are going to be unmonetized due to the new rules? Let's find out. Let's switch over so you guys can read too. $100. Yes, there's an important distinction in the new YouTube rules that is getting lost in a lot of headlines. The 8,000 hours is not an annual requirement to stay monetized. Starting February 1st, 2027, YouTube is changing the requirement for new channels applying for full YPP monetization from 1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 valid public watch hours in the previous 365 days to 1,000 subscribers plus 8,000 qualified watch hours in the previous 365 days, or 20 million qualified short views in the previous 90 days. So yes, the 8,000 hours is a rolling 365-day measurement, not get 8,000 hours every calendar year. For example, if you had 8,000 hours between August 26 and August 27, then you qualified based on that period. The clock is continually moving forward. But here's the really important part for you. If you are already monetized, YouTube is not saying that you have to maintain 8,000 hours every year. YouTube announced rules saying existing YouTube paid members are subject to a different activity requirement to remain active. A channel can satisfy any one of these: 1,000 qualified watch hours in the previous 365 days, 1 million qualified short views in the previous 90 days, or uploading 2 long-form videos in 90 days, or upload 5 shorts in 90 days. That's a huge difference. So if you've already monetized, I would not panic about trying to hit 8,000 hours every year. How things will get interesting. YouTube has not announced a number of percentages or existing channels that it expects to demonetize. Yeah, I think I'm more confused now than when I started reading that fucking thing. So I don't know. I'm not really a monetization guy for social media, so that's not really something that I'm worried about. All right, guys, I think we're going to end it here. Let me scroll through here real quick. Yeah, there's not a whole lot on here, guys. I'm going to get going. I got to get to the store. Get my strawberries for the day. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. Be safe out there. We are definitely under attack in more ways than one, so stay safe. I appreciate everybody hanging out and have a great Tuesday. Or what is today? Wednesday. Is it Wednesday already? Damn.